Hi, my name is the Grad Hacker and I help average graduates get into high paying graduate schemes. In this video, I'm going to talk about the top industries that you should consider if you're applying to graduate schemes. And this information is based off of my 4 years of experience applying to anything and everything in the graduate scheme space. And also it's information that I've collated from my friends and family who are in different graduate schemes and different industries. And based off of that, I'm going to give you these top industries that you should definitely consider. These industries are not the end all be all. It doesn't mean that you only have to apply to these industries. I'm just showing you the industries that you should definitely consider because they have a very good job market in them. There's enough demand in there, there's enough salaries in there. So I've basically looked at it from a holistic point of view. It's not just, here are 5 salaries that here are 5 industries that I just found on some random website and then I'm giving you them. No, this is based on real first-hand experience. So let's get into the video. First one is going to be IT, ICT, tech, whatever you want to call it. This is probably one of the best industries to get into as a graduate because number one, the pay is very, very high for lots of different roles. You can expect upwards of 50,000, 60,000, 70,000 for various different roles in the IT industry, such as developers, business analysts, scrum masters, project managers. And there's a variety of skills that you can learn in the IT industry. So if you like design, you can go into UX design. If you like managing projects, you can go into project management. If you like being a liaison between business and IT, you can become a business analyst. There's lots of different roles and there's also demand for all those roles as well in IT. So if you can get into a graduate scheme, it doesn't have to be strictly software development. It doesn't have to be like coding. If you're not into that stuff, you can still get into IT, and I'm an example of that. So I am a business analyst in the IT industry, which means that I don't actually do any coding or I don't do any technical work, but I am a bridge between the technical folks and the business folks, and that's basically what my job entails. And I'm in IT and I am getting an IT level salary, which is a lot more than many other industries of the equivalent like experience and knowledge that you need, right? You don't actually need I don't want to say you don't need that much knowledge in IT, because of course you do need to know about technology, but like you don't actually need to know how to code to be in the IT space. It's a very big misconception, but you can still secure the bag and you can still get access to some really, really good salaries. So yeah, if you're if you're applying for graduate schemes, definitely look at IT graduate schemes, because I feel as though you will definitely have some sort of interest in at least one of the roles that IT has. It's a very, very broad area, very big area, and and it's only going up as well, right? So everybody's talking about AI coming into effect. Yes, that is true, but AI is also part of IT, right? So when AI starts to take over jobs and what have you, what people are saying, although I don't fully agree with that, you will still need people like AI experts to actually manage the AIs. So just keep that in mind. So IT is the first industry you should definitely consider. The second one is engineering. So yes, engineering is one of those classic industries where it's always going to have jobs in there. Just to give you an example, I did civil engineering at university, so that was an engineering degree. And as long as somebody's making houses, you're always going to have jobs. Somebody needs shelter, you're always going to have jobs. Machines always need engineers. Software engineers are also like IT and engineering. So again, the pay in the UK for engineers is not actually that great, I'll be honest, and that's one of the reasons why I left the engineering space and I came into IT, because I was doing half as much work for like double the salary. It just made sense. But engineering industry is really good because you're basically solving problems, right? I guess every industry does that, but in engineering you can actually see what you're solving. So if you're creating a house, or you're designing a house, you can see that house being made. Like you can actually see your work being put into effect. So that's quite a rewarding experience. And there's lots of different types of engineering schemes as well. when it comes to graduate schemes: mechanical engineering, civil engineering, electrical engineering, software engineering. So you have a bit of a choice as to what you want to do. But again, this is obviously a very good STEM degree, and it's obviously a very good STEM graduate industry to go into, because there's lots of opportunities in there. And like I said, the pay isn't as great in the UK, but you can take this you can take the experience from the UK into different countries such as the UAE, where you can take your civil engineering experience, for example. I've got friends that have gone there and they are earning almost like 5 to 7 times as much as they're earning in the UK, and it's brilliant, right? So they've kind of like geomaxed, right? So they've changed their location and used the experience from the UK that they've got through graduate schemes and stuff like that, and just gone up the career ladder, up the salary chain, and they're sat in Dubai earning thousands and millions, right? So engineering, excellent industry to get into. The next one's going to be consulting. So consulting is basically where you work for a company that consults to different companies. So as an example, Accenture is an IT consulting firm, PwC, KPMG, there's the big four, EY and Deloitte. So those are like the big consulting firms, and what they do is they help companies improve their processes in various different areas such as tax, compliance, governance, just the way they run their business, technology, things like that. Because what these consulting companies do is they hire people who actually know about these things. Like they'll hire accountants that know about tax, they'll hire technology consultants that know about technology, they'll hire, I don't know, like business specialist people that know how to run businesses smoothly. They'll hire people who know how to sell businesses, so that if a business is wanting to sell its shares, or they sell like a department within itself, they can go to these companies like KPMG, for example, and say, look, we want to sell our I don't know, like resourcing department or something. We don't know how to go to market and sell our, departments. Can you give us the expertise for that? And the consulting firm will do that. So in consulting, it's a very corporate job. So if you want to go down that route, that's definitely something you should consider. And also with consulting, there's lots of different types of roles, again, which means that it's good for you. It gives you exposure, and it gives you exposure to lots of different companies, because consulting in nature is like contract work. So one year you'll be working with Google, for example, and you're giving them technology consulting, and then the next year you might be working with a utilities company and giving them IT experience or IT skills. So you can get a lot of really broad experience in a short amount of time when you go into consulting, and it's got excellent exit opportunities as well, because you can actually just get hired by one of the companies that you were working with as part of your consulting firm. So hope that makes sense. Consulting is also a great industry to get into as a graduate. Fourth one is going to be law. So this is purely based off some family members who are in law. They've done really well because they've been able to specialize. And what you want to look for is training contracts if you're a graduate. So a training contract is basically just like a graduate scheme, where they'll give you training. They'll also get you to sit your exams, whatever the legal exams are, the tests and accreditation and stuff, and then they'll also give you the job afterwards, which is a win-win situation for you. It is very difficult and very competitive to get into, but so is every other graduate scheme, and that's why you're watching this channel. So law is definitely a good one. I can't go too much in depth because I don't know like too much about law. It's not something I've done or I've actually dealt with, so I'm going to leave that there. But just do your due diligence with law, because there's different types of practices within law, and you want to make sure that you align with the one that you enjoy, because it is a very demanding role. It's a very demanding graduate role. They basically make you work like a dog when you're a graduate, which is not always the case with some of these other industries. For example, in IT, it's quite a relaxed, depending on the role. Not every role is, but a lot of roles in IT, for example, are quite relaxed, or they allow you to work from home and stuff like that. Whereas Law is a very traditional type of industry where they want you in the office 5 days a week, that kind of thing, and you're dealing with clients on a daily basis. You need to be able to talk really, really well. So, but yeah, it's a great industry to get into because you'll always need lawyers. The law will always be around, and yeah, the courts and the justice system will always be around, so you'll never be out of demand, so to speak. So yeah, great thing to get into if that is your thing. If it's not, then obviously skip law. And the last one is going to be finance. Now, finance, I'm just going to say it's extremely high paid. If you go into investment banking, there's some other things as well in banking. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I've got 2 friends who are in banking, and one's in investment banking and one's in corporate something. I can't remember what they call it. But yeah, finance is obviously very high paid. Investment banking in particular is very high paid, Like, there's graduate schemes that are paying £100,000 a year in the UK. You've got to be in London to achieve that, and you have got to be a high flyer to get into those schemes. It's very difficult. But I'm warning you right now, if you choose finance, be prepared to pull your socks up, because it is very stressful. And I don't want to kind of throw dirt on a whole industry, but I've heard a lot of stories of people snorting certain things just to keep their minds afloat in that industry. Lots of different substances, not just one, just many different substances, and that's just the industry. And as a graduate, if I was speaking to a family member or a little brother or sister and kind of guiding them, I would say stay away from finance. Just because of the stories that I've heard, it's just ridiculous. I mean, you get paid a lot of money, but there are a lot of negatives that go with it as well. Probably something that I can share in another video. I could probably bring that person on if they're comfortable to do so. But yeah, it's not just one person. I've heard from many different people that there's a lot of negatives within the finance industry as well. But it depends on the type of job. So there's front office, back office. I've heard that if you're in the back office, it's a little bit better. You're not dealing with clients, because clients are quite demanding in finance. Obviously, you're dealing with money. People are putting that money into you. You've got to produce results, and it's a very demanding sort of industry. But yeah, if you're after the money only, then finance is probably something you want to look at. Now, with finance, obviously, it has its own requirements of how you've got to be. You've got to be a certain type of person. Unfortunately, they're not as diverse as I would have thought from my research and from my experience as other industries such as tech and stuff, where it's a very diverse pool of talent that they like to take on. Finance is still traditionally how it used to be, white, male dominant. So you've just got to look at these things, and if you're getting into finance as a graduate, yeah, just be prepared to pull your socks up. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So those are the 5 top industries based off my experience and my knowledge and the information that I've got from friends and family that are worth you considering as a graduate. I have left out the civil service in here because I just feel like the civil service will always be there, but if you get into the civil service, you're slightly stuck. So you're very specialized within the civil service. Civil service in the UK is civil service in the UK. It might have similarities with other countries, but there's a lot of skills, specialized skills that you can't always take elsewhere. That's why I've left that off the list. But if you want to get into the government, you want to get into the civil services, NHS, that kind of thing, that is also a good industry that you can have a look at. But just be wary of the pay. Usually doesn't increase by a certain point, and also, like I said, the work is very specialized. So with that being said, if you're wanting to get onto a graduate scheme this year, I highly recommend that you check out my Graduate X program, which is linked in the description below, and that teaches you basically everything you need to know from zero to hero on securing a high paid graduate scheme. How I did it took me 4 years of trial and error, but I will share everything in there step by step. So if you want to check that out, the link to that is in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.